Well, hello, my lovelies. It's Murky Meg here. It's Sunday, the 12th of October, and in July, there was a big story that was released by the Daily Mail that there was a secret peace summit between senior aides of King Charles and Prince Harry. Apparently, they met at a London private members club, and at the time, it was reported that the meeting was the initial step in a rapprochement process to restore the broken relationship between Harry and Meghan and the rest of the royal family. Obviously, everybody was up in arms about this because, as far as the majority of the British public are concerned, there is no way back. Anyway, this week, some more evidence has come to light, and Richard Eden has found out what this is called. It is now being known as Project Thor. And Richard Eden, who writes for the Daily Mail, he says that he's discovered a jaw-dropping name and details of the establishment plot to return Meghan and Harry and undermine Kate and William. And he says you won't believe the gall. He has reported that Meghan being in Paris for the Balenciaga fashion show was part of this Project Thor to warm up Harry and Meghan's frosty relationships with the royal family and, by association, the British people. And he says that what better way to show how much Meghan is adored was to be her to be seen being kissed and embraced by the fashion elite, especially Anna Wintour. I'm not buying that at all. I think Anna Wintour was actually being polite. Now, this is where you have to take this with a pinch of salt, because apparently a friend of Harry and Meghan told Richard Eden, so you've got to then think, put your critical hats on. Would somebody that is a friend of Harry and Meghan be discussing this Project Thor idea of trying to bring them out from the frosty cold and introduce them back into English society? This apparent friend told Richard that this trip is all part of the Thor process. Well, this apparently aims to melt the hostility, building on the perceived success of Harry's previous visit last month and also his brief visit with his father. And Richard is suggesting that some members of Parliament are in on this project. He specifically named our newly appointed Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper. Now, can you remember Harry went to Kyiv? Allegedly, he was on the same train as Yvette going to Kyiv. Now, he says that Yvette Cooper is among the establishment figures who admire the Duke and want him to play a bigger part in public life. It's also reported that the next move in the plan is for Harry and Meghan to have a joint visit to Britain. This friend says that Meghan will return to Britain before the year is out, adding jokingly that she will be bearing humble pie. That's the issue that I have with this story. Meghan will never bear humble pie. She will never admit to anything she has done wrong. Narcissists never do. They never ever admit their wrongdoings because it shows weakness. I also firmly believe that Harry and Meghan will never bring their children back to the UK unless they receive their fully funded taxpayer security with bells and whistles. I also personally believe that Harry and Meghan will not jointly come to this country without those same arrangements. Now, if they are taking part in going to see the royal family or going to see his father, he may very well receive some level of security. He did when he was here last month. I was loath to believe this article until something dropped yesterday, and that is that Prince Harry has written to the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, in another bid to have his royal security reinstated. Now, I believe that Harry is just trying his luck. We've got a new Home Secretary and he's just thinking, well, maybe she will be more sympathetic to my pleas. The Times are reporting that a formal request has been lodged by Harry with the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures, i.e. RAVEC, which is overseen by the Home Office, asking for a risk assessment process to be conducted. Now, remember, it was only this April that Prince Harry made his latest legal challenge after the High Court upheld the decision that he should not be provided with the same level of police protection given to working members of the royal family. And because our government's Home Office has a legal responsibility for the Ravek's decision, they opposed the appeal on its behalf. They argued that yes, Ravek has a responsibility, but it is a bespoke process and it is on a case-by-case basis. But we all know that Harry doesn't accept this. This is just another attempt at Harry to literally try and hoodwink people into paying for his security, because we have a new Home Secretary in charge of the Home Office. Essentially, he's trying his luck with a new person. What's worrying is that Yvette Cooper seems to be sympathetic to Harry's requirements. I mean, now the trip to Kyiv makes sense because he was probably chummying up to our Foreign Secretary. My problem with this whole Project Thor is it seems very one-sided, as in California-based one-sided. It is another PR push to try and make Harry and Meghan become more sympathetic to both the government and to the British people. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe they've read the room. If he's allowed to go ahead with this, if he's allowed to have his taxpayer-funded security back, then there will be outcry. They will never be accepted as walking the streets in the UK as if on an official outing. It just won't happen. There will be outcry. I firmly believe it. With everything that is going on in the UK right now, paying for these two privileged persons' security when it is already decided that they shouldn't have it because they're no longer working members of the royal family, I believe there would be general outcry. I'm not buying this BS. I really, really am not. I don't believe for one little minute that this will ever happen unless Yvette Cooper is the sole decision maker, and she isn't. However, I still genuinely believe in their deluded little brains that they think that they can have a half in, half out, because that way they get what they want. They get a waltz in, they get to have taxpayer funded security and then leave. The palace have already shut this down completely, and I did a video on it, and you can click up in the right hand corner here. What I believe is happening is that the malicious PR strategy of Harry and Meghan strikes again, feeding some kind of controlled narrative to test the waters. Not on my watch, they don't. The problem being is that Harry and Meghan clearly don't understand or like the word no. Even if she comes to the UK cap in hand, humble pie on display, I genuinely believe that she will get booed, and she will not like that. The damage is done of their own volition and it cannot be undone. What this pair did to the Queen, Prince Philip, Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, and the King and his consort, Queen Consort Camilla, can never be forgiven. Don't bite the hand that feeds you and expect to be rolled out absolutely fine. It's never going to happen. But what worries me is the positiveness from our own Home Secretary. I mean, Labour is in absolute dire straits at the moment. And this, I think, if it happened, there would be uproar. Absolute uproar. Project Thor is a fool's errand. End, pure and simple. But I would like to know your thoughts on this. Have you read the article? What did you think? Is this the first time you're hearing about it? But more importantly, do you think it's feasible? Do you think that there is a secret plot within part of the government to bring Harry and Meghan back into the fold? And if that actually happens, God forbid, what would happen? How would the British people react? But more importantly, do you feel that this is just another manipulation tactic to try and get something that they want manifested into reality? As always, I would love to know your thoughts.
Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.